In the newest addition to the CU Museum of Natural History, the Tree Space is a living, ever-changing gallery. It shows the patrons who visit where ideas come to life. If you look at them closely, you'll see that trees are more than those idle wooden giants that are absently passed by every day. They are ancient. They've patiently watched the earth evolve with the environment, and when we look into their bodies, we are told the story of how they once shared a connection with one another to benefit the earth. The tree space captivates the primordial mystery of trees. You just have to walk in.
You'd have to wonder standing out there, what do they mean tree space? So I have to go find out what this is. And that mural is really very beautiful and compelling. And then as you get closer, you see the corridor of pine beetle-killed trunks that you walk through. So I think it kind of slowly draws you in.
Assistant Director of the museum, Sharon Tiniano, says that the idea for an exhibit can often begin with a moment of inspiration.
We had an author here last year, David George Haskell, and he did a fantastic presentation. It got us really thinking about some of the current science that's emerging about trees. And so we started looking into trees as a topic area and felt that it was so strong and so rich that we could devote an entire gallery to that.
Ideas like this go straight to a committee consisting of members from different sections of the museum. Based on their budget, the committee determines what the exhibit is going to look like and what audience they wish to target.
You never really are able to narrow down exactly what it's going to look like, but once it starts to come together, you get different inputs from people with different backgrounds, and sometimes it gets very messy, but most of the time all those ideas come together and you get a really good finished product out of it.
The ultimate goal of the exhibit is to give the audience an experience. But oddly enough, the museum staff don't wish that its visitors feel like they have to learn something, but they want them to leave having learned something without even realizing it. The trick lies behind the design of the exhibit. If it's created in an interesting, fun way, scientific and historical information can be absorbed without any effort.
The museum is a really good way for people to learn things that they might not necessarily come to a museum thinking, I'm going to learn this specific thing, but there's a lot of ways that we can show information in a fun or engaging way that kind of goes around what they might be thinking they're learning directly.
However, the assembly of an exhibit is no small feat. It roughly takes 6 months to develop an exhibit and another 3 months to build all the working parts. Tree Space has been in the works for about a year. But as soon as the logistics of the exhibit are figured out, it's time to split up the work. People like Trevor Gansky and Jim Robb get requests to build specific pieces for the design.
All comes together in a strange place like the shop at the Museum of Natural History.
In collaboration with Charles Counter, the exhibit's coordinator, Rob takes work orders as needed.
And he creates the designs, and then essentially I get the things on blueprints and we build it.
They are in the process of building a tree bookcase that is set to be installed in the gallery in the next few weeks.
And then this one comes out from it. Yep.
There is never a dull moment in the shop.
Safety is no accident.
And the hardest part of building exhibits all from scratch is just not breaking anything. Rob explains that everyone in the museum tries their hardest to create relevant and educational material because the genuine interest and value in science has declined.
People need to just understand the most basic aspects of science, and sometimes it's just plain old interesting.
Tiniano also continued to reach out to artists to add extra pieces that would fit perfectly within the style of the exhibit. A senior in the Technology, Arts, and Media program, Andrew DeVore, is currently building one of the more hands-on pieces for the exhibit.
It is basically a picture of a forest scene, and in that forest scene there are different types of interactive components. Everything from their trees are talking trees, so you can touch the knots on the trees and they'll make sound. There's color changing leaves by the heat of your hand changes the color of it.
The mural will be installed in pieces over the course of the semester because of just the sheer massiveness of the design. It's said to have interactive components that will bring the actual art to life. According to DeVore, being a part of a team that builds exhibits is like cooking a recipe in the kitchen.
So you have like a bunch of different ingredients and you're trying to get them to all somehow like fit together to make this cohesive thing. And when you go into a museum, you don't always even think about like the flow and organization and like the ambiance of it.
So, without trial and error, figuring out exactly what tastes best would be almost impossible. Only a meal made with the right ingredients at the right temperature keeps people coming back for seconds. All in all, creating an exhibit takes a village, but the results are so worth it.
We grow as people and we're able to appreciate our world in a different way. So it's a really exciting and fun thing to be part of creating those kinds of experiences.